Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. We are doing a lot of streaming recently, Joe, aren't we? We're doing this because we're enjoying it. We're actually really enjoying getting to meet you people and chatting about our beloved Manchester City. Listen, tonight's stream, it's going to be solely focused on tomorrow's game. We're playing essentially 3 games a week these days, which is a hell of a lot of football. But it's exciting. As football fans, we want to be involved in a lot of games. We want to be enjoying ourselves. We want to see our players. And why wouldn't we want to see City as often as possible with the beautiful football we're watching right now, particularly after that performance against Nottingham Forest? That was absolutely, sublime. That was the best performance of the season, hands down. I know the opposition wasn't, the best on offer, but we blew them out of the park. And, that Haaland, the talk of the town, he's breaking records. Life is good, people, right now. As a City fan, life is good. If you're a Blue, you should be enjoying yourself. Listen, to get started, there's about 15 people with us in the building right now. Make sure you have all smashed the like button. I always say this, it helps us massively. It's free to do. Just smash the like button. It helps us a huge amount. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We appreciate all of you coming in to give your thoughts. All of you, as we're about to get into it ourselves, get in your own thoughts on tomorrow's game. Villa away, Villa Park, always a tough place to go. I know they're going through a bit of a rough patch themselves. A lot of pressure on Steven Gerrard. There's talk of him losing his job if things keep going as bad as they are. Obviously not ideal for him, because his dream is probably to be the Liverpool manager eventually. But nevertheless, they did cause us those problems on the last day of the season last year, didn't they? And on the Big Six last night, some of you may have watched that. You would have seen myself and my new friend James Redmond went a bit head to head on that, because he predicted a 1-1, and I said, what are you predicting 1-1 for? And he kind of outlined it. And whilst I didn't show it at the time, I did understand this point, which was Villa have caused us problems, particularly on that high pressure game that was the last day of the season. But I think, Joe, we're in a much better position right now, and I think they're in a much worse position. How do you feel going into this one?
I'm feeling as good as I possibly can be. We've just come off our best performance of the season. And, hold on. Something's on my OBS, hold on. There we go, fixed it, never mind. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm confident. Best game of the season we played so far, albeit it was against Forest, but I am also cautious because Villa, they're a bit of a wounded animal at the moment. Whilst they are on poor form and the manager's under a bit of pressure, it's almost not a good thing, because they've almost, in a sense, got nothing to lose. They are possibly just going to come out swinging and hope they can get a few results. Like, they're going to go down fighting, not down as in relegated, but Gerrard's on a sinking ship at the moment, and he will try anything and everything to save his job, because, like you said, he's probably eyeing up that Liverpool job when Klopp eventually decides to leave, whenever that time may be. I think he is eyeing up that job as, like, he wants to do it. I know he's involved in their youth setup before, but I think that is his dream management job. But right now, it's not going too well. But like I said, it's the same thing when Pep used to say this about Jamie Vardy. Because Jamie Vardy's a player who used to cause us all sorts of problems. When he hadn't scored for 3 or 4 games, Pep was like, no, it's very dangerous because a goal is coming. Like, Villa haven't won for a long time. So a result for them is just naturally going to come at some point. And, they're getting desperate. They are getting desperate. Gerrard is... he brought in 2 signings on deadline day. He's trying to bulk up his squad. He managed to hold on to Douglas Luiz, who was very close to signing for Arsenal. So, I am a little bit wary of them just, taking every single risk possible to try and get a result. But I think Gerrard knows what he's up against. And, he even said in his press conference that they had us under pressure for 77 minutes on the last day of last season. Yeah, but you fucked it up within 7 minutes and we're 3-2 down. So, nice job with that one, pal. But, no, I'm confident. Why would I not be confident? They are in a horrible spot, but like I said, you still can't just, take it for granted that they're in a poor spot at the moment and we're in a good spot at the moment. You still need to be on it, because at the end of the day, it's football. Anything could happen. We could go out and lose this game. Like, we saw what happened final day of last season. Anything could happen. We could be hit on the counter. It could be a sucker punch. You never know.
Yeah, listen, you're right. The thing is, we have every right to be confident. There's no reason to not be confident with the way our team is playing right now. But if we're also being balanced, you're right. Villa are a wounded beast right now. They're going through an awful time, and you best believe, people, Gerrard will ramp his players up. He will get them hyped for this game because he needs a big performance. They need a big performance. If things keep going the way they are for Villa, they're staring at relegation in the face, and it looks doom and gloom. I know they've signed 1 or 2 players. They signed Bednarek. Where did he come from again, Joe? Was it
Southampton on loan?
Southampton. And they also signed, I have it here, Dendonker as well. These were both on deadline day. So, they've got new players. They'll probably use them. They'll need to use them. But for Villa, they'll want to make their statement. They will come out all guns blazing. I assume Gerrard will set them up in a very similar fashion to the way they set up against us on the final day of the season. You know, try to, within reason, go toe-to-toe, go blow for blow, and try and get on our faces. And that's, as I said, since early doors this season, after we saw particularly the Newcastle game and the Palace game, we saw that teams can get joy out of doing that, and I think more teams are going to do that. They're going to get in our faces. They're going to try put us under pressure, and like I keep saying, it's a risk versus reward situation. High risk because there is every possibility that our pacey players and our technically gifted players will put the ball in behind and you'll concede a goal, but the high reward is you might catch City on an off day and you might catch a few goals, and it would definitely save and give Gerrard a lot of credit in the bank in terms of his managerial position if he was to get even a draw against us. But for us, Joe, it's just about killing or building momentum. Just keep going the way we're going. A lot of fixtures coming thick and fast our way. Obviously they're congested together now with the World Cup on the horizon. Premier League and Champions League and the cup competitions are all being congested and condensed into a much shorter period of time. So, you know, injuries will become a thing. Rotation is going to become more of a thing. We've had the luxury up until now of essentially only having one game a week. Up until this week, really, isn't it? We've had one game a week, or the Forest game, and just gone, that kind of thing. So, you know, a lot of big decisions for Pep. But the main topics I think we're going to talk about are, the first thing is Akanji is available. Are we going to see a debut for Manuel Akanji? I don't see why not. I don't think the guy's going to start, if I'm being totally honest. I wouldn't want him to start. I was very impressed with Ruben Diaz and John Stones against Nottingham Forest. Now, people will say, obviously, Forest didn't offer a huge amount going forward. They weren't very creative. But I loved the aura. And I know we slag Liverpool and Virgil van Dijk for aura defending and all that kind of thing, but there was that aura that Ruben Diaz used to carry that we all knew and loved. It looked like it was back. You know, when you see the big challenges go in, or they make a big block and they all start high-fiving each other and patting each other back, that shows they're feeling good. That shows they're feeling confident. And that's all I wanted. I said, I knew in the preview that we made for that Forest game that Forest weren't going to be massive threats going forward. They were going to set up to maybe try and get a draw. If they could nick a goal or two, they would. They weren't going to be going toe-to-toe. I didn't think Forest had that in them. I think other teams will. Forest didn't, but I just wanted to see an improvement in just the overall what we could see from the defence, and I think we definitely saw that. So in terms of Manuel Akanji, I don't want to take Stones or Diaz out just to give this guy his debut. I think if we're comfortably winning, or we do maybe need some reinforcements in the second half, in the centre half positions, if Stones or Diaz is looking off and they're not looking as good as they did against Forest, maybe then bring him on. I mean, Nathan Ake is still injured, Laporte is still injured. He's going to be injured for quite some time, so why not get this guy blooded in? Why not get this guy his first minutes? Why not get him comfortable with wearing the City shirt and playing with the players around him? Joe, the Akanji situation, there's lots of different ways to look at it. What would you like to see in terms of tomorrow? I think the main thing is he needs to get minutes if it is to happen.
Yeah, I'd say don't just throw him in. He'll have had maximum one, maybe two training sessions, depends if we do any sort of training, like pre-match or something, like on the morning tomorrow, because we are away. Like, that's it. Like, don't throw him in. It's stupid. We brought him in to be an extra body, so that when we do have these injuries, he's there and he's available. There's no point throwing him in and him getting injured because he's not match fit, and then that plan goes out the window. It's just pointless. So give him a little bit of time. I don't see him starting anytime soon with the fixtures that we do have coming up. I see him being involved, definitely, because like, we're going to have to use this squad with 3 games a week from now till the end of the season, pretty much. You know, he's going to have to be utilised in the squad. He's got his place. He knows what his place is. He knows he's come in here to, obviously, when everyone's fit, he's going to be 4th or 5th choice, sort of fighting with Ake, maybe playing, you know, in different positions that he's not used to. But in terms of right now, Ake only just returned from injury. You'd say, you know, he'd be third choice. He's first man to step in if Diaz or Stones get injured right now. So I think give him a little bit of time if we're comfortable, or like you said, if we need a bit more reinforcement at the back, we could always, I don't know, make something happen. We could put Stones to right back, or something like that. We can switch it up. There's many things that we could possibly do to get him some minutes. 5 substitutions, so you're never gonna run out just by using it. You're not gonna waste one by bringing Akanji on. So I don't see why you wouldn't give him 20 minutes or so at the end just to see what he's about. Obviously, if the game's maybe not going to plan, then maybe not do that, because you want your best players on the pitch. You don't want to waste substitution on the defender. But I don't really see too many outcomes of us really being under too much pressure, if I'm going to be totally honest. So I think I don't expect him to start. I don't expect him to start for the next few weeks with Sevilla and then Spurs. Champions League is kicking off again, so I'm happy that he's here. I'm very much for the signing, considering it gives the chance for Laporte to fully recover instead of, I think if we really, really needed Laporte to be back, he could be back in the next couple of weeks. But, we've signed a new body in there. There's no rush to get him back. We can wait until he's 100% ready to come back, and then, that's going to benefit us for the long term. That's the whole point of signing Akanji, to benefit us in the long term when we need someone to fill in there. And I think, again, like I said, if you just throw him in now and he gets injured, the whole point of the signing's just gone out the window.
Darrell Revel, big up Darrell Revel in Spain. He says, super chat. Thanks for the super chat as always. I know he's won the boys, but he says, Gerrard never won the league. Gerrard has never won the league, and he's not going to win any leagues. But some people are saying things about Akanji here. They're saying give him time, settle him in nicely. Basically, everyone's saying ease him in. I think there should be no expectations, not too much pressure on Akanji. Like, with every player that comes into this team, they're going to need a period of adaptation. We've seen it with Jack Grealish, that's still an ongoing thing, and other players with the exact same. So you're going to have to give them time. And the centre half area of playing centre half for City is quite unforgiving because you don't have a huge amount to do a lot of the time. Let's be fully real, but you don't have a huge amount of time or a huge amount to do when you're centre half for City. But what you do have to do, you're judged very critically on. So if you have to do 2 or 3 things a game and you fuck up 1 or 2 of them, people are going to have a bad impression of that game on you. Whereas if you play for Villa, you may have 15, 20 things to do in a game that are, really important. But if you do 9 or 10 of them well, people think you've had a good game. So to play centre half for City, there's a lot of pressure on every single thing you do and there's always a world class centre half waiting to take your spot. So yeah, Akanji, he's here to help. He's here to make up the numbers. He's here to offer something. I think, you know what, I wouldn't be totally surprised if Akanji got the second half yesterday, maybe second half against Sevilla. I think, you're bringing in a 27-year-old here. You're bringing in someone with a wealth of experience who's played in the Champions League. He himself, I don't think, will want to just sit on the bench and wait until someone gets injured. And I don't think that's what Pep sees from as well. Cambo has an interesting one here. He says he wants to see Gomez tomorrow. Joe, we obviously have Cancelo in our predicted starting 11. Listen, people, our predicted starting 11, like as you can see, is up on screen right now. Let us know your thoughts. Would you want to see any changes? Is there anybody you think shouldn't play? Anybody you think should play? Let us know about our predicted 11 and tell us yours if there's anything you'd like to see. We have Cancelo, Joe. He scored an absolute thunder bastard against Nottingham Forest the other day. Is there any possibility in your head that Gomez starts over him? Obviously, Gomez is yet to start a game. Is this the right time to start him and then rest Cancelo for Champions League?
I was really, really tempted when I was making this because you left me to just make this, throw in whoever I want, essentially within reason, of course. And
trust your knowledge, Joe. I trust your ball knowledge.
I was really, really tempted to put him in for Walker because Cancelo's been subbed off the last couple of games, so I don't think there's an issue there with like in terms of risk of him really getting injured, in terms of playing too much. I think the real issue is Walker because of his age. We're going to need him because, again, around the corner, literally Tuesday night, Champions League, it's back. We're away in Spain. We're going to need him there. And then after that, it's Spurs on the weekend. We are definitely going to need him for Spurs. Someone who can, try and keep Son quiet, on the counter-attack or whatever. Son's a very, very quick and tricky player. We're going to need Walker to be on his A game there. So I think I was really tempted to put him in there. But I think with the fact that Walker kind of plays as, he's gone back to playing as sort of a right-sided centre-half in a 3 in the defensive when we have the ball instead of playing in this midfield role where he's bombing forward. So the reason why I didn't put Gomez in there is because I don't think Walker's necessarily been worked too hard, considering the fact that, like you said, we don't have much to do defensively, so he's not constantly running after players in behind. And I mean, he's playing this right centre half role, he's not bombing forward all the time. So I think it's manageable. I'd like to see Gomez. I genuinely don't know if we don't see him start tomorrow against Villa. I don't know where we're going to see him start because I wouldn't want him thrown in for a Champions League game for his first start, and I don't want him thrown in against Spurs either for his debut. So I don't know when he'd next get a chance. I'm really excited because I think he could do so many different things. He can play that Cancelo role of inverting because, funnily enough, he is exactly the same as Zinchenko. He started out his career as a central midfielder and then ended up at left back under Vincent Kompany. So, he can play that Cancelo role. He can obviously go natural wide left because he's left-footed. So he opens up a few different opportunities to play, but I just don't see it. I think with the defence working, you saw it against Forest, the defence worked so well, clean sheet, they had nothing to offer. I think he's just going to stick with it because if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, rotation and fatigue will become a thing. So there are going to have to be games where you do have to fix what's not broken, essentially. We always say, don't try fix what's not broken, but in these early stages of the season where you are just trying to rack up as many points as possible, as fast as possible, you do have to be cautious and a bit more pragmatic in your selection. So there will come a game or two, or games will come along where we're saying field this player or play Haaland and he'll go with Alvarez, or play Cancelo, he'll go with Gomez. And someone, I think it's Cambo Man, made the point in the chat here. I think it was, Cambo Man said Akanji can play right back, he can play as a backup to Walker. That's obviously another option. In the defensive areas particularly, and of course in the attacking areas we do rotate a lot anyway, there's going to have to be games where Pep is a bit more cautious, a bit more selective for the greater good. If it was the last 10 games of the season, if it was the last stretch essentially between April and May, yes, go balls to the wall, play your strongest starting 11 every single game. If injuries come, fuck it, deal with it if that happens. Don't worry about or don't cry over something that hasn't already happened. But in these early stages of the season, you got to be a bit more pragmatic, you got to be a bit more tactical with your selection. So there is the possibility that Sergio Gomez starts tomorrow night. And with Sergio Gomez, just briefly, from what I have seen of him, he looks like he has the potential to fit into this team quite well. We've seen him come on in a few cameos, and he seems to take a lot of leaves, if you like, out of Cancelo's book. He makes the similar runs up the pitch. He inverts in a similar way. He makes those cut-back passes. He's got a good eye for a pass. It's just about sharpening him up, getting him more used to it, and there's no reason this guy can't be more than capable of filling in for Cancelo on a given day. And this is what we want, people. This is what we want. We wanted more depth. We asked for more signings. We asked for a left-back. We wanted a left-back. We wanted a striker. We got two of each now. We need the depth, and we're going to have to be comfortable in relying on these players when the time is right. It can't be a case of you play the same 11 every single week for the reasons I said. You've got to be more careful. Is there anything else here on Gomez and Cancelo? No, there's not. So listen, the left-back situation, it's all up in the air. Like I said, this is just our predicted starting 11. My opinion is he will go with Cancelo, but my opinion is also that you will see Gomez come on at some point. With Gomez and Akanji, they're in similar situations. Both of them, it's just about getting them minutes, getting them fitted into the team. Of course, you've got Harry Mills says, what do we think of Rico? I like Rico. I like Rico Lewis. I think he looks like a good player. Obviously, captained the EDS team, or it was the under-18 teams maybe, to a Premier League victory last season. They won the league, so big up to them for that. So this guy's clearly a leader. This guy's clearly got a lot about him, and the fact that he wasn't sent out on loan means Pep has a plan for him, which is unlike Pep. Pep usually sends out players of that age and that lack of experience on loan on the basis that they probably don't have a future at the club. Your likes of McAtee's, your likes of Delaps. If we're being real, Tommy Doyle, you've seen it. He's effectively gone, even though he's out on loan again. These players, they don't have a future at City. They just don't. We don't promote many EDS players. Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, the elite, the creme de la creme of our academy. They get the chance. They get the opportunities. But those really top players, they're still top players. Your Delaps and your McAtee's and your Tommy Doyle's really, really good players who will have great Premier League careers. They don't get that chance with Pep. To get Pep's trust, you need to be extremely special, like your Fodens, like your Palmers, like I said. But I think the next person to talk about, Joe, is the man on everybody's tongue right now, and that is Erling Haaland. Pep apparently in his press conference tonight hinted at the possibility of starting Haaland tomorrow, and I don't understand it, if I'm being totally honest. We've been expecting a game now to come along where Haaland doesn't start, but clearly Pep has different ideas. I think you can work out Pep's patterns with Haaland. I think he said something along the lines of he's 22, he's able to do, he's able to recover quicker and rest quicker and go again quicker, and his body can function quicker than say Kyle Walker, who's 33, 34. He needs longer recovery and longer rest time, so Pep feels comfortable in it, at least starting Haaland in every game. But the patterns, Joe, suggest that Pep wants to start Haaland, let him possibly or hopefully score 2 or 3 goals, or a goal anyway, and get us into a good position, and then take him off. He hasn't finished 90 minutes for us yet. What do you make of Pep's quotes, first of all, and do you think Haaland's going to start? Obviously we predicted him to, but bearing in mind everything spoken about.
I don't think Haaland's going to start. I don't think Haaland's going to start every game that he's fit for, because That's essentially what Pep's saying. Pep's saying that he's 22, he can recover quicker than when he's 32, and that basically tells me that he's going, when he is fit, when he's fully fit, if he's got a knock or something, he might not play, he might just be on the bench, but when he is fully fit, regardless of whether he played in midweek, he's going to play. Like, he's going to start the game at least, because, like, he's basically saying that it's fine, he can recover fine, he's not going to suffer from burnout. Now, he might do. He might change his mind. It is Pep. He is known to do some wild things at times. I can't imagine him starting Carabao Cup games, mind. Like, I know it's Chelsea. He might start the Chelsea one because it's Chelsea, just purely for the fact that it is Chelsea. But if we come against lower league position, I don't think he's going to go that far. Like, at that point, it's just bullying for the rest of the lower leagues. Like, I don't wish that upon anyone, so... But I fully expect him to start tomorrow against Aston Villa. Like, if he doesn't start, I'll actually be shocked. I think this is his plan. He's played 90 minutes for us, and that was against Newcastle, and that was only due to the fact that we didn't win the game and we were still chasing a goal, so we kept him on the pitch. If Haaland would have taken one of his other chances that he got against Newcastle, then, and we were 4-3 up at one point, I imagine he would have been taken off. I think it's that simple, that whenever we're ahead, he's just going to take him off, make sure he's fresh for the next game. Like, all we need to do is win the game. Like, it doesn't matter about Haaland playing 90 minutes. That's not the point. I know the fans, like all of us here, want to see him play, you know, every single game and score hat-tricks every single game, but you've got to manage him. You can't play him every single game. You do have to be cautious about it. Because if you want long-term success, it needs to be available in the long term. So I don't think he'll complete the game tomorrow. I don't think he will, because I think we'll have the game wrapped up at some point. But I do expect him to start, fully expect him to start, and I think it's just unfortunate that Alvarez is currently having to settle for this sort of winger role. He can do it, and he played really well, but I want to see him up front at some point. I don't know when that chance is going to be, but like, this is the plan. Get the game won early and take off your best players. I think that's, you know, sort of the theme going here. You see Foden, he's been taken off quite early into games because he knows how important he's going to be going forward into the season. Same thing with Rodri, because we were so far clear against Nottingham Forest. Rodri got taken off. We didn't even have Calvin Phillips on the bench. He was injured, but Rodri was still taken off, like, because we'd already won the game. Like, it didn't matter what he did. He just shifted a few players' positions around and went with it. Like, I think that's the exact same thing with Haaland. He's just going to play, get the game won, take him off for the foreseeable future. And I think just keep doing it. We're winning games. Why would you stop? Like, and it's keeping him fit as well. He's not getting injured. And I just expect him to play. I expect him to score again. Well, I hope he's going to score again anyway. You know, it's Haaland at the end of the day. But I'll be incredibly surprised if he doesn't start here, and if he doesn't start midweek, and if he doesn't start against Spurs. Unless he gets injured, he will play, and it's exciting.
All the next three games are massive games. Villa away, even in their current state, is a massive game. Sevilla is the first Champions League game. You want to get off on the right foot in the Champions League. You want to get a good start in that competition. You want to build momentum the exact same way you need to build momentum in the Premier League, which I think we are doing, bar the minor blip away at St James's Park. We're building momentum nicely. You need to do the same thing in the Champions League. You need to grow into the competition. So yeah, I think Haaland's going to start all three of those games, and it's going to be interesting to see, does he complete the 90 minutes? It's all circumstantial. How is the game going? How is he playing? How is the team functioning as to how, you know, whether Pep will leave Haaland on for 90 minutes at a time. I think in Pep's ideal world, it is as simple as leave Haaland on, he scores a goal or two, we're in a comfortable lead, or else we look like we can see out the game comfortably, and then take him off and bring someone else on and give them a chance, give them an opportunity who's fresh and hungry. And the fact of the matter is, those players who are fresh and hungry off the bench are still world-class players. We're talking about Julian Alvarez off the bench. That's an absolutely massive trump card. People call him this guy Sergio 2.0, and I would never go so far as to say this guy is Sergio 2.0, but he's got every possibility, man. This guy's got every possibility to be the next Sergio Aguero. He's got that clinical striker's finish. I know we saw a lot more of Jesus than we've seen of Alvarez so far, but even snippets we've seen and the 2 goals we've seen of Alvarez, he's more clinical. He is more clinical than anything we saw of Jesus in a blue shirt anyway. I can't speak on his Arsenal career so far because he started off very well. But we wanted someone to come in who's going to be more clinical and improve our team. And that's what Alvarez is doing. Listen, just under 40 people in the building with us right now. Just do us the massive favor if you would. We appreciate you all coming in, and smash the like button. We're 3 likes off 40. Get it up to 40. It'd be massively appreciated. And of course, as always, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Join the 1894 community. It's a nice little community we're growing here. It's great to see so many new faces coming in all the time and giving us your opinions. I like to see you guys come in and give your thoughts, because it is just as much for you as it is for us. Let's see what the people are saying about Haaland. Dr. Ford says Haaland ain't as clinical as Nunes, in my opinion. Listen, we can't judge Nunes so far, but stats over the last few years would suggest that Haaland is actually more clinical than Nunes, but I suppose everybody has their own opinion. Chris Paulson, I assume you are a Liverpool fan, even though your profile picture is Haaland, and he agrees that Nunes is more clinical. Dr. Free says Alvarez can't even shine Harvey Elliott's boots. What is going on with you people, man? What is going on? This is unlike you, Dr. Footy. But yeah, with Haaland, I think he's going to start. I think he's going to start all 3 of those games. But Pep also knows with Haaland that Haaland has an injury record. He does have an injury record that can't be ignored. So you do have to be careful, and you do have to be a bit more cautious and once again pragmatic in how you use him. He's your main trump card, but you can't overuse your main trump card. You can't rinse it to the point where it's not working anymore. We don't want a bollocks Haaland who's basically out on one leg just for the sake of just because he's Erling Haaland. We want Haaland in the best condition possible. We're enjoying him right now because things are all going great, but adversity will come along. He will get tired, he'll get fatigued, he'll get knocks, he'll get niggles, and you just have to, hopefully avoid them for as long as possible. So yeah, with Haaland, I think he'll start tomorrow. I don't see why not. And the next thing we want to talk about is Ake and Grealish are both fit, according to Pep's press conference, according to journalists and squad updates. The word is Ake and Grealish are fit and back in training. Apparently, they're training very well. We saw photos of Grealish back in training today. Me personally, I'm buzzing to see Jack Grealish back. You lot know I love Jack Grealish. Phillips is a doubt. Laporte is back after September international break. I feel bad for Phillips, man. I feel bad for Phillips because there's been a lot of games now. The Nottingham Forest game, even the Palace game would have been great for him to come on in those defensive areas and just shore things up, just tighten things up and show what he can do, get his opportunity to show what he can do. So I feel bad for him that this injury has come about now. But with Phillips, Joe, just really quickly, is it going to be an ongoing thing? His injuries, I know he had a lot of injuries, particularly in his last season or so at Leeds, and it seems to be carrying into his City time. I just hope for his sake that it's not something that we will only know Phillips for as being the man who's always in the physio's table.
Well, I mean, you got a shoulder injury. I don't know how many times you get a shoulder injury in your career. It can't be many unless you're a goalkeeper. Like, it was just completely unlucky that he's playing in a charity game. He's only played, I think he played like an hour or something, and he picked up a shoulder injury just out of nowhere, really. I don't even know how it happened. I just think it's so unlucky that he's picked up this injury. He hasn't really picked up another injury that's, like a training injury or just like a normal muscle injury, really. He's been fine for the most part. But it was an unknown injury. We never actually got confirmation of what it was or how long it was probably going to keep him out for. There was no, update on it. But
a shoulder injury, isn't it?
Yeah, it was that's all we got. He was holding his, I think it was his right arm, and it was supposedly a shoulder injury, but we don't know whether it was dislocated or what was wrong with him. We never got confirmation, and because of that, we never knew how long he was going to be out for. I think it's just incredibly unlucky, but we're in a situation where, thankfully, the guy who he's competing with is the best in the business, and we've seen from previous seasons, touch wood, of course, I am currently touching wood, he's very rarely injured. He's pretty much always available. So we're in a blessed position, really, where we're not actually missing Calvin Phillips. But I think it's just unfortunate for him because he must be, as a player, he must be looking at that World Cup on the horizon and going, I need to play if I'm going to get in this squad. And I need to, I need to be fit, number one, and I need to be playing some games. And I think he would be playing games because, like we said, tough, fixture pile up. I think this would be a game where, if he was fit, I think he definitely would have started Forest if he was fit. No doubt in my mind, I think he would have started against Forest. He just wasn't fit because of this unknown shoulder injury. So it's so unlucky on his part that this has happened. All we can do is just hope that it's not going to be a recurring issue. It is a little bit, concerning. He missed the majority of Leeds' season last season where they almost went down, and it was evident because he was the reason why they were so good when they came up, why they were in that mid-table sort of competing, giving teams tough times. It gave us a tough time because he was in there. He was such a good player, and when they missed him last season, they almost went down. That was his impact, and I think it's just so unlucky. It's just, you can't put it down to anything else but luck. Like, it's a freak thing almost. Like, you don't normally pick up a shoulder injury. unless you're a goalkeeper. So I think hopefully it's not something that keeps him, on the sidelines often, because I think I'm looking at Lavia at Southampton. We've got a buyback. Like, he's performing so well at Southampton. If Phillips turns out to just be injured all the time, I won't put it past City just pulling the trigger and getting the buyback on Lavia and going, well, if Phillips is never available, then we need someone else to back up Rodri, otherwise we've got no one.
Yeah, Lavia is absolutely smashing it at Southampton, and he's another one of those players in that category I was on about that wasn't elite to the point where Pep simply can't turn him away and say you're not part of the squad like Delap and McAtee, but he's smashing it and he's in the right place. He's going to get loads of game time. He's going to develop as a player, and it's good that we have that buyback, because like people are saying, the common consensus in the chat that I'm reading here right now is Phillips is a player with a lot of ability, but people are basically saying he breaks like a digestive biscuit. So hopefully that's not the case. I've made it perfectly clear since the moment that we signed Calvin Phillips. I'm a big fan of him as a player, but it's can you keep him on the pitch? And obviously he's coming back to fitness now. He's a doubt for Saturday, but I think he's back in training, or he's due back very soon. And maybe the Chelsea game is one you can look at, the Carabao Cup game, which of course Pep will want to win, but Pep won't be silly. It isn't a major competition for us. I know we like to win it every year, and Pep challenges for it, but don't shoot me down for not loving the Carabao Champions League and the Premier League. But I think it's a game Phillips will probably work towards getting himself in the starting 11 for, because he's going to get a starting 11 opportunity. Because like we said with Cancelo, like we said with Haaland, like we say with all our top players, you can't play Rodri every single game. You don't want your top players to be getting burnt out early doors, and that's the fact of the matter. It's a game that I think Phillips will want to work towards. So Dr. Footy says even Lavia has more potential than Pat. Listen, I don't know what you're smoking tonight, Dr. Footy. Your Haaland agenda is starting to become very clear. But listen, Jack Grealish, my man Jack Grealish, he is back in training. Pep said he's training very well. Is this a game that he could start? I don't think so. I think Grealish will be on the bench. I don't think he's played in Villa Park since he left Aston Villa. I don't think he came off the bench when we were there last season. So is it a game that Pep wants to use him for? I don't know. Would I like to see it? Absolutely. And am I going to predict a Grealish goal? Of course I fucking am. I always do that. But Joe, listen, Jack Grealish is back in training. Pep says the quote is he's training well and he looks good. Can we expect him tomorrow? And would you like to see him, even with Phil Foden looking very, very strong?
I'd like to see him back because he was playing well before he got injured. Whether we will see him back, I think is a different question. I think the whole thing about the wingers and the entire 11 really is, even though Pep in his press conferences all the time, he likes to say one game at a time, he's only focusing on one game at a time. But in the back of his mind, he will be looking at Spurs come next weekend and going, wow, Spurs, they always give us a tough time. We haven't beaten them in a long time. I think actually last time we beat them was the cup final. Since then, we've lost twice. Like, it's a mental barrier, Spurs. And I think he's looking at that and going, Grealish might be able to add something, but I think he is looking at Grealish and going, I'll just slowly ease you back in. I need to keep Foden fresh for that Spurs game because he will definitely play, because it's a big game. Foden has to play those big games. And I think it's a similar thing with Mahrez. We know Mahrez is a big game player and he has been in the past. And I think, coming on, he didn't get credited with, an assist against Forest, even though I think he should have, but he played a part in both of Alvarez's goals, which, could get his confidence up. He might be starting to get in the swing of things, like you said before previously, that, it takes him a little bit of time to get into these things, but he can't be afforded that time. But hopefully he has, started to click a little bit, and we know he's a big game player, big game in the Champions League as well coming up. I think Pep might be eyeing that one up and going, Mahrez, you've come up big in the Champions League before, you play there. So I think he would possibly be given the chance there. Just get some minutes in, because again, if we have to use our squad, and if Mahrez is one of these players who takes games to get into things, I think you need to give him an opportunity to build on the little cameo he had against Forest, to build on what was a good cameo against Forest, start him, see what he can do from the very start. And I think with us being away from home, Villa having pretty much nothing to lose and them just going for it, I think he will value the fact that Mahrez is very good at just holding on to the ball, just an outlet. Whether it's switching the ball across to the other side of the pitch, whether it's playing out from the back, Mahrez is an outlet. He's very good at not losing the ball. So I think our view him is important for this game. And You know, I won't be surprised if Grealish is involved as well. Again, like I said, form was good pre-injury. He will have to be introduced at some point. He can add something different. He can play in multiple positions. You could even see him come on in midfield, you know, to give Bernardo a rest, something like that, or come on and put Foden into midfield, take Bernardo off. Because again, this is one of the tougher runs we'll have all season. We've got Wolves coming up as well a bit later on. So it's something that, while Pep and while us as fans, we kind of go, you just kind of keep on winning and winning and winning again and again and again. You have to have it in the back of your mind that you've got even bigger games coming up. You've got Spurs coming up. We need to beat Spurs. We need to get over this hump of Spurs. Like, that is the one thing that's on my mind, that we got past it against Palace. We were 2-0 down. We got past it against Palace. Can we do it against Spurs, someone who's better? That's a test for Haaland. That'll be his toughest test yet. Might be his toughest test of the season if you're looking at the way Spurs set up defensively. So I think, you know, just you have to allow these players to get into it, which is why we're being cautious with Akanji, which is why we're being cautious with Gomez and him getting minutes, and why you're looking at players like Grealish coming back in and going, you get a few minutes because we're going to need you later on. And Mahrez, you know, he seems to have possibly started a maybe a run of form with his cameo against Forest, going, right, what can you do from the start? And I think that's why I didn't put Gundogan in the starting 11 either, our predicted 11, because I think he's so important right now. He's a goal threat. You've got to keep him fresh. And, you know, with his age, I think you can afford to take him out of the team.
Yeah, exactly. There's options there for Pep to think about. Do you take Foden out? Do you give Grealish game time? I think that Champions League game against Sevilla on Tuesday is when we could possibly expect Grealish to start, because Grealish wasn't out for that long, so his fitness won't be completely deteriorated, so I don't see why not. Super chat here from Dr. Footy Caught Gaming, ZAR, I'm not sure what currency that is, ZAR14. Dr. Footy, I see you're riling people up in the chat, but listen, it is what it is, people. It's all love, it's all in good spirit. Massively appreciate the super chat, Dr. Free. Like I always say, we never ask for super chats, we never ask for donations, but if any of you ever want to do it just to support the channel, it's massively appreciated. Big love to anybody who does that, but big love to all of you for coming in and chatting to us tonight. He says, I put 100 quid for Nunes to win Golden Boot. Well, listen, hopefully you get your 100 quid or your bet pays off. I hope it goes well for you personally, but from Manchester City's perspective, I hope that's not the case. I'd love to see our boy Haaland get it, and he's on track to getting it. But thank you for the super chat, Dr. Footy. Got caught vaping. You're still my guy, even though you have a Haaland agenda. But listen, with Grealish and with Mahrez, they both have things to work towards. They both have things to prove still this season. Obviously, Grealish probably slightly more, because Mahrez is obviously very established, particularly in the Champions League. We know what Mahrez is capable of doing, so there's kind of less of a question mark over him, and he looked very good when he came on against Forest. I think it was his best cameo, or his best period of time on the pitch this season. So with Mahrez, I told you, stick with him. He's going to come good. It's only a matter of time. But with Grealish, he needs the minutes. He needs to get back into it. But it's going to be so hard to shift Phil Foden, because he's playing really well, and he's growing into the season at a rapid pace, and he is developing chemistry and a partnership, if you like, with Erling Haaland, and that's what we wanted to see. Listen, we're going to get our predictions now for tomorrow night's game. Everybody in the chat, 40 of you in the building, make sure you smash the like button. We're getting it up to 50 likes. We're 6 likes off 50. Try run it up to 60 likes, or 50 if you could. It would be massively appreciated. And get your score predictions in for the game. I'm going to read out some of your score predictions and let us know who you think might score a goal. Joe, as always, I'm going to start with you. City Villa tomorrow. What is your prediction?
I run a quick poll there, just as a little preface. Quick poll. I like polls. Quite nice. 16 votes. 87% say City are going to win. 6% either side for draw or Villa. So interesting. We are very heavy favourites. I'm going to go, I said the same thing for Forest. I'm going to go 3-0, I think. Back-to-back clean sheets. I think we could possibly mud Gerrard, which is even sweeter, because I don't rate him as a manager, and he used to manage Rangers, so that'd be nice for me. So I think 3-0 City, and I'm going to go for a... Who do I think is going to score? Mahrez goal. I think if he starts, he'll score, and he'll start to put together a run.
Darsh, my friend, good to see you. He says, Hugh, I think City will play a back three against Villa. I'm having vibes of Akanji and Ruben. They could make the difference in certain situations when we go on a high line. Akanji's fast, man. The word on Akanji is he's fast. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I've seen him play a huge amount of times, but the word is he's quick. So you probably can play a high line with a fast centre half. So maybe that is a thing. And you're right. I think this back three thing is something we're going to see more of with Pep and City. I don't see why it wouldn't. It seems to work. It seems to suit Kyle Walker, who no longer, if we're being real, has the physical capacity to be bombing up the pitch as much as he used to. I'm not saying he won't do that anymore, because it is still a big asset to us, but I still think the back three shape is something that we will resort to more often than not, especially when we're in the lead. If we get the first goal, I don't see why we wouldn't go into a back three. Let's see some of your predictions. I'll
I've
give
just
mine.
seen Dennis has said Gerrard's going to score a 40-yarder.
Gerrard! Harry Mills says 3-1 City. Dr. Footy says 5-1 Villa. Up the Villa. Fair enough. Football Ferreira says 4-0 City and Gerrard goodbye. Yeah, you would think that if we absolutely thumped them, I'm not saying we will. I never predicted City to thump, like I had to against Forest, because Joe predicted 3, Luke predicted 4. So to be different, I predicted 5. But I'll never ever say we're going to thump this team tomorrow. You would think that if it was to happen, it would possibly be the final nail in Steven Gerrard's coffin. Chris Paulson says 4-1. I assume that's to City. Fahad says 4-0 to City. Cambo 4-1. Haaland brace and Mahrez brace. Slicers the hater. That would be something else. Haaland, if he gets a brace, that would put him on 11 goals. It's just turned September and he'd be on 11 goals. So hold that, Rory Jennings, may I add. Dar says 3-1 City. Rebel says 3-0 City. 5-1 Ings. 5-1. Everyone's saying City win basically, and by quite the margin, because we are catching Villa at a good time. But I was just trying to be objective and balanced by saying that they're going to be a wounded beast. They're going to want to make a statement. Gerrard needs it, etc., etc. 50 in the building. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. It would be massively appreciated if you could just do those small things. It's free to do and helps the channel grow. My prediction, people. My prediction is Joe said 3-0. I'm going to go with a more conservative 2-0 on the basis that we have the Sevilla game on Tuesday and then that massive game against Tottenham next Saturday night, I believe it is, at 5:30. That's an absolutely huge game. That is the first huge test of the season. We spoke about Palace being a bogey team. Tottenham, they are a fucking bogey team. Tottenham are a problem. I think maybe for the Tottenham game, if you guys want to see it, I might get my Big Six colleague Tappin Tobes on the channel. I'll see what he's saying. Get him to come on and give his thoughts. Because I think he's usually, and Spurs fans are usually weirdly confident when they play against us, even though there is a gulf in class between the teams. They just seem to have our number. They seem to do a decent job in it. So I'd love to get Toby's thoughts. Maybe some of you at Toby on Twitter or getting his DMs on Instagram and tell him to come onto the channel, and I'll give him a text as well. But yeah, on the basis that we have those massive games coming up, I'm just going to say 2-0 City, and I'm going to say Haaland to score the first goal, and then off the bench, making his return to Villa Park, is Super Jackie Grealish, who's going to score the second goal, people. Mark my words, Jack Grealish returning to Villa Park is going to score tomorrow night. Listen, people, there's 40 of you in the building with us. We're going to wrap it up right here. It was a short one tonight because the previews are never as long as the reviews. We'll be back on Sunday night at about maybe 10:30ish on Sunday again to do a review of this game. We hope to see you all with us again to talk about hopefully a City win, and then we'll start to work our way into the Champions League as well. We'll do another preview for Sevilla, but we start to turn our attention to Europe then at that point, don't we? Listen, smash the button or the like button on your way out. Like I always say, it's massively appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Share it around. I think, Joe, if you have a spare second, as always, if any of you have Discord and you fancy joining our little City group chat or our football group chat, click that link that Joe's going to send in or someone's going to send in. Join our Discord. Free to join. Some great people in there. We're always talking football. You are all more than welcome. Join the 1894 community, people. It's a great space and you're all welcome to be a part of it. Good night and God bless, people. We'll see you on Sunday. Joe, wrap her up.
You get no extra credit for guessing that he'd say a Grealish goal either. None.
you